Well, today it is late afternoon on a Saturday, and I am basically recording this video in what amounts to my pajamas because I'm going to do something decadent for myself. I'm going to take a brief nap, which I try to do whenever I can. Obviously, when I have kids with me, I can't really do that very often. On a busy workday, surely that's hard to do, but I certainly endorse short naps as a really great self-care tool. I really need one today to kind of keep busy with all the things that I'm trying to accomplish today. Per usual, I'm pretty overscheduled, which is now my new normal. So a nap is going to help me, even a brief one. What I want to talk about today is perspective. I have been thinking about this concept for the last 24 hours or so, and for a couple of reasons. Just because it's always something that is really pervasively threaded through a therapist's life. You know, we work with people regularly to help shift perspective. We call that reframing. How can really difficult situations be reframed and perspectives changed in a variety of ways, right? And I certainly do it in my own life. It's been a lot of the work I've done in my personal work to kind of get through these last few years is trying to shift my perspective regularly in a way that's healthier for me. And so, but even if somebody who's always thinking about this in general, I'm going to screw up and I'm going to have times where my perspective is kind of weird. And so I think I mentioned yesterday that I had a date last night. And so I guess this is kind of like hashtag real talk, some self-disclosure. But since I started that, I'm going to finish it by talking about perspective. So the date that I had last night was fine, but it didn't quite go the way I expected. And and expectations and dating do not go together, everybody. Again, most people know this by now. And so it wasn't a bad date. It just didn't quite go the way that I was thinking it was going to go. And because I'd had kind of a long day yesterday, by the time I got home last night, I was really kind of annoyed. Just kind of annoyed. I'd done a lot logistically to make this date happen. I had, as we do, I'd had, like I said, a late work day and kind of, all these things had to fall into place. I had to get ready. And because it didn't quite go the way I wanted it to go necessarily, by the time I got home, I felt the way I did, and I was just kind of annoyed. I went to bed just feeling annoyed last night. And taxed, really. And so this morning when I woke up, having had a little sleep, some coffee, my perspective changed. And it changed in the same way that, like, people say if you're looking for jobs, to go on every job interview, even if it's for a job you don't like, you don't want, but because of the practice. Well, my perspective this morning was like, you know what, this was great practice. It wasn't a bad experience. It was really more of an experience of me setting boundaries and kind of learning better how to enunciate the things that I want and don't want. And right now, I think it's really hard for people to date me. I have empathy for someone trying to date me because my head is all over the place. It's the same reason I'm doing these videos. I've got a lot on my mind. I've got a lot of goals this year. I'm not really looking for a long-term relationship right now because I don't think I can really fit that into my life. And so, somebody that wants those kind of things, I'm not there, really. So, anyway, my perspective on the date this morning was different than it was last night. Last night I was annoyed. Today, I actually just kind of felt like, well, that was a good learning experience for me. It helps me learn just the tiniest bit more of, how to be authentic, how to talk about what it is that I really want, and how to just, be okay with who I am as a potential dating partner. And it was a great learning experience for me. Moving on, fabulous. So that was a nice perspective shift. And then right after that, I went to this great yoga class. It was really surprisingly challenging this morning. And it was actually put on by my friend Katie Wittry. She's with the Wittry Collective, and they put on these yoga classes kind of like an open house. It was a lovely, lovely little social event. And the yoga instructor was someone who's fabulous and dynamic. Highly recommend her. Her name is Karina Pivic. She's also a friend of mine. Anyway, I went to this class, and I was talking in this class to this person I just met, and she was commenting on my colorful yoga mat. And I said, yes, this is my son's yoga mat, actually, because the one that I usually use was stolen out of my car recently. And I went on to just say casually, like, when this was stolen, I had left my car unlocked. And of course, the one time you do that, something's going to get stolen. And the things that were stolen felt really random to me. I said to her, it was my yoga mat, my wet wipes out of my console, and my change in my change jar that I keep in my car. And without even thinking about it, 2 seconds, she said to me, this brilliant woman, she said, well, of course, somebody needs those exact things. A yoga mat to sleep on, wet wipes to stay clean, and change. And I think that what she was suggesting was someone who's homeless. And obviously, I'm a social worker, and of course, I would love for someone who's homeless to actually have meaningful things that they need, like housing, healthcare, mental health treatment, etc. But my perspective on this little trivial matter of these things getting stolen out of my car completely changed in this one conversation, where I was like, why would somebody take my wet wipes and my yoga mat? All of a sudden, it made perfect sense. And I was like, I'm so happy they took those things that they needed. Of course, why hadn't I thought of that perspective? And immediately I just felt completely different. I am so glad that my car was unlocked for that person to take those things that they really needed. Like I said, I wish they had things that were more impactful than that, but my perspective totally changed. And so perspective. I work with clients, like I said, all the time about this, issue, and we don't always call it perspective, but that's really what it is. How can we have a new perspective on the things in our lives that might be extraordinarily difficult, traumatic, loss-filled? Believe me, those are things that have been in my life as well, and I've really had to struggle in some of my darkest times to find perspective that was different than the initial one that I had that was causing me such suffering. And so these trivial matters that I just mentioned were just nice reminders about perspective and how it can really affect the bigger things in life. And it's a really good thing for us to keep in mind on a day-to-day basis, to just challenge ourselves a little in our perspective. So that's what's on my mind, and that's something that I wanted to talk about. And as I mentioned in my previous videos, today I'm going to go back to the basic meditation that is the foundation of all the mind-body skills work that I do, which is the soft belly meditation. And so for those who might be interested in hearing that again, I encourage you to put the computer, the tablet, or your phone down and just listen to the sound of my voice. I'm just going to do a real basic soft belly meditation practice. You can also stop the video if that doesn't interest you, obviously. The song that's in my head right now, is more like a band that's in my head. And I am one of the things that brings me the most joy and sense of community and even spirituality is going to hear live music. It's something that always, always, always works well for my nurturing, my self-nurturing. And tonight I'm going to one of my top 3 favorite music venues to hear music, which is Tipitina's. And I'm going to hear a band called Mandolin Orange, and I'm super excited because it's fronted by 2 people who are just marvelous songwriters and harmonizers, and they write really beautiful, kind of haunting songs, some of them. And so I've been listening to them a lot the last couple days just to kind of get my brain refreshed so I can go hear them tonight with some familiarity. And I'm going to post a song on my playlist by Mandolin Orange called Echo, and it's really just a little poetic song about what they find meaningful. And so I'm going to post that song on that playlist, but now I'm going to stop and do a real brief basic soft belly meditation. So I'm going to lead one and get back to my practice of doing one myself when I get in tonight. So As with many of these, depending on what we're doing in these techniques, I often start with just making sure that people feel grounded. So if you're sitting, I would encourage you to feel your feet against the floor or against whatever surface is under your feet, but just become aware of that, the sense of whatever it is that you're sitting on supporting you in this practice. You might even want to lay on the floor, which is a lovely way to do a meditation when, especially this kind, when you can do that. But just as we're talking, just feel that surface underneath your feet, your legs, your back, if you're laying down. Relax your fingers and your hands, let them rest gently in your lap or at your sides. If you're sitting, as always, try to sit up as straight as you can comfortably so that you can really get the full benefit of your lung power as much as possible. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so, which will help visualize the soft belly portion of our practice, which is really trying to release that tension. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes where you are, that's fine. Just soften your gaze at the floor in front of you, or the tip of your nose is a nice place to soften your gaze toward. And just start with the breath. Just basic. We want to just try to focus your awareness as you do this exercise on the sensations of hopefully cool air coming into your nose and warm air leaving your mouth. Breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your mouth can help release tension even more. And so, again, the goal is to try to use the full capacity of your lungs. Getting that air when you inhale as far down into the bottom of your lungs as you can. Sometimes it helps to put your hands, when you're trying to visualize using all your lungs, to just rest your hands on your core, your belly, and just feel your hands moving outward a little when you inhale. It helps just to kind of make that inhale a little bit more impactful if you're really trying to use your diaphragm and the full capacity of your lungs, and feel your hands contract a little bit when you exhale. So inhale, exhale. Tension relief, often it helps to exhale with real force and vigor if you can. You can even make a sound if you're somewhere where you can do such a thing. That helps to release your tensions a little bit more. And again, this exercise is about that very thing. So inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Just visualize the air going as deep into your lungs as you can bring it. Exhaling as far out of your lungs, clearing them out with each breath. When your thoughts come, just be gentle on yourself and just know that thoughts are going to come. There is no perfect meditation. There is no perfect relaxation. You're going to have thoughts. Just let them slide on by and return your focus to the sensation of the air entering your nostrils, going to the back of your throat, down your throat, and into your lungs. And the sensation of the air as it leaves your lungs out through your mouth. Inhale, exhale. The goal for this particular exercise is to focus on your core, your belly. We carry a ton of tension in that part of our bodies. We give ourselves just a little bit of a gift when we try to focus for a couple of minutes or 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you're really luxurious, or longer, of just letting that part of your body get soft for that short period of time. With every inhale, you might want to say to yourself the word soft, and the word belly with the exhale. Inhale, soft. Exhale, belly. You can say the words out loud, or you can just think them to yourself. Inhale, soft. Exhale, belly. And what I'd love for you to do is to try to visualize that part of your body. Visualize with every exhale that part of your body getting a little bit softer every single time you exhale. Inhale, soft. Exhale, belly. every little bit of tension that you can release from your belly, your brain will stimulate the relaxation response in your body. That is the goal of this exercise, to be present in this moment, to give yourself a little bit of relaxation, a little bit of softness in your core. Inhale soft. Exhale belly. Do this as long as you want to. That's my demonstration. And to come out of any relaxation exercise, all you need to do is open your eyes. It's that simple. And then just go right about your day feeling a little bit less tense, a little bit more relaxed, and a little bit more nurturing of yourself by giving yourself that gift. So, there you go. Have a lovely rest of your day, whatever it is.